Here today to celebrate some historic investments that will advance research that expand opportunities for Latinas and communities of color in policy and in representation. It's no secret that over the last 2 years, our communities have continued to struggle. And also in the midst of an election, we know that voting rights, reproductive justice, climate resilience, economic opportunity are all on the line and are all on the ballot. But it brings me a lot of hope to see the leaders here today and the vision that I see within this room, the talented, exceptional public servants that have been supportive of our institutes here at UCLA. We're very grateful for your time and for your presence. And so we'll get kicked off with our very first speaker, and I have the honor of welcoming up to the stage Dr. Veronica Terriquez, Director of the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center.
Thank you, Paul, and welcome everybody. Before we start, I want to acknowledge that we are present on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino and Tongva peoples. As we spend today talking about a bold, inclusive future for Latinas, we know this work cannot be done without the commitment to improving the futures of Indigenous women and other communities of color. I am the first woman director of the Chicano Studies Research Center, a 54-year-old center which was established to have a systematic impact on our campus, in higher education, and in the community. We are an organized research unit, or ORU, and that means our faculty come from all over the campus. We have faculty advisors from the medical school, the business school, public health, and of course, Luskin and the college. With the support of many faculty on our campus and beyond, I am very privileged to be co-leading the Latina Futures Lab 2050. The goal of this lab is to conduct research that can inform policy and programmatic changes that advances equity and inclusion for Latinas. We are focused on Latinas' experiences in the labor market, their well-being, and their civic leadership. Our work is in part driven by the fact that Latinas remain extremely underrepresented in critical fields that will determine the future of our state, our country, and our planet. While Latinas comprise nearly 20% of the state population, we are only 1% to 2% of engineers and computer programmers. We comprise less than 5% of physicians and only 6 to 7% of environmental and biological scientists. With guidance from Professor Stephanie Correa, who's over there, she's in the Department of Integrative Biology and Physiology, our research will aim to understand and identify solutions for systemic barriers in the STEM training pipeline. Latinas represent only 6% of lawyers in the state. And so I'm glad Sonia Diaz, my partner over here, who's a lawyer herself, will be taking the lead in addressing Latina representation and success in legal professions. This project will not simply focus on positions in the labor market and civil society where Latinas remain extremely underrepresented. Latinas are a growing number of K-12 teachers and administrators. Their success will have implications on the success of other educators as well as the children they serve. We are partnering with the School of Education to identify and support teachers' recruitment, retention, and professional growth. The impact on Latinas cannot be underestimated. Latinas are mothers to over half of the children in the state of California, and they are the majority of child care workers. Their well-being and success is really tied to the success of the next generation of all races and ethnic groups. We must also recognize that Latinas are very highly represented in low-wage occupations. They comprise the majority of garment workers, domestic workers, those working in agricultural packing houses. They are a third of agricultural laborers, and they represent the largest share of those taking care of our senior populations. Our research will investigate the labor market experiences of these Latinas and will examine opportunities that will enable low-wage workers to thrive. We are interested in the experiences of both young Latinas and our aging population, Latina leaders, past and present. The lab will include support for archival work done through the Chicano Studies Research Center library, and it will result in publications of our press. In this work, we are critically aware of the diversity of the Latina population. Our research will uncover and provide solutions for systemic inequalities that advance the well-being of Latinas and other similarly situated groups. Studies connected to the Latina Futures Lab 2050 will be intersectional and will be racially, queer, and trans-inclusive. This is a historic investment, and it will have historic impact. So I am deeply grateful to the legislators who are committed to advancing racial justice and gender equity here in California and beyond. I am grateful to our community partners such as Hope and others who are going to be engaging in this work with us. And I really feel that UCLA is the right place for this project, given the diverse leadership that is committed to the success of California's diverse populations. I have to thank our EVCP Hunt, Vice Provost David Yu, our many deans who are supportive of this work. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctora Terriquez. Next up, I have the great privilege of welcoming up our fearless leader at the UCLA Latino Policy and Politics Institute, founding executive director, Sonia Diaz.
Thank you so much. I feel like this is graduation. Let me just start by reflecting on the rain and the water in Los Angeles and the cleansing and the limpia of being here as we imagine a future that is healthy, that is safe, that is vibrant, and that's sustainable. I want to share that I'm so proud to be here with Latina legislators and those that really champion this through their leadership. There's been a lot of cause for thinking about leadership, not just these last few weeks, but these last few years. And there's an inspiring vision that comes with leadership. It's about thinking about the future. It's about thinking about how the past informs the present, but where we can all go, not for us, but for those that come behind. And with that, I am incredibly grateful to Latina legislators here in the great state of California. Senator Durazo, Assemblymember Cervantes, Assemblymember Carrillo, Assemblymember Gomez Reyes, and Lorena Gonzalez. During the first year of COVID-19, they saw it prudent to really identify a pathway in their leadership. This is audacious leadership. At a time when California has the narrowest pay gap for women and men in the country, it has one of the worst for Latinas. And that is what really created not only the Unseen Latinas initiative in the state legislature, but UCLA's brand new Latino Futures 2050 lab. In preparing for this, it's really important to think about the opportunity in the face of retrogression as it relates to influence and power. And so this project is really about looking at the ways in which we have Latina representation at every level, from our city councils to our legislative leaders, to our hospitals and our boardrooms, from being the stars in front of the camera and the writers and creators behind. Latinas need a seat at the table, but we also have to redefine what the table is. And for that, I'm so excited that UCLA has continued to allow applied research, research rooted in community, partnerships with leaders, so that the public research institution that is now #1 in the United States is open to everybody. Latina Futures is open to everybody. One of the things that is really important from our research is the ways in which Latinas have continued to be degraded through a failure of social policy. This is seen in the ways in which there's care work that is unequal between men and women, especially in Latina households, how Latinas, who are predicated to be a growing segment of our labor force, have exited the workforce and are still not entirely back. And so our project is really thinking about how we frame progress and opportunity for everybody through a Latina lens. And that's actually the way in which we think about an imagination, we think about better futures. So I want to share that now is really the time to no longer be sidelined, to no longer be told to wait a turn. We need everybody to lead. And one of the most important things that the legislature has allowed UCLA and Latino faculty, staff, and scholars to do in partnership with them is to elevate research that includes the state's plurality population in governance in ways that it was not highlighted before. And with that, the path forward is really the ways in which we need to see people everywhere. It's not just political power. It's not just Latino majority districts. It's about a leadership that understands the nuances of the country that we live in and is able to adequately afford women and those identifying as women the right to dignity and positions of power and influence. And with that, I want to acknowledge other assembly members who are here today, Luz Rivas and Isaac Bryan, former Senate Majority Leader Richard Polanco, State Board of Equalization member Antonio Vasquez, and also some faculty peers here, including our allies, Dr. David Hayes Bautista, Dr. Celia Lacayo, and many others. With that, I am so grateful for the model of Latina legislatures in California to use this audacious, awesome power to imagine a better future for all of us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Sonia. So next up, we have the pleasure of welcoming California State Senator of the 24th District, Maria Elena Durazo.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you very much to Sonia and Veronica for your leadership here at UCLA. I also proudly serve as current chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. Coming to a transition period here. 31 million Latinas live in our great country. And we're so proud because they add to the mosaic of residents in culture and economic and many other ways that they contribute. But they still struggle to achieve their American dream. As was said earlier, the vast majority are essential workers. They keep our economy running. Right, Dr. Hayes Bautista? Yeah, they keep our economy going. They pick the fruits and vegetables, and remember, I'd like to remind folks that during the pandemic, we never once had a food shortage. Never once. We had a toilet paper shortage. We never had a food storage shortage. They cared for the sick as nurses and home care workers. They kept the garment factories running, and they manufactured our masks and the PPE. Though some Latinas are rightly celebrated for their work, many more go unseen and disregarded. They are deprived of career opportunities and paid pennies on the dollar compared to their male counterparts. They are woefully underrepresented in key professions and industries like government, law, entertainment, high tech, and medicine. For instance, through March of this year, only 8.5% of all executive appointments in our current administration went to Latinas. That's 38 out of 445. They comprise less than 6% of all licensed attorneys, less than 10% of our state judiciary, and hold just 3 of 99 positions at the highest levels of our legal system, the Supreme Court and appellate courts. They are less than 6% of all doctors and only 2% of our high-tech and computing workforce. How can we say we're really part of the future and essential to California with those numbers, with those statistics? So to address this, the Latino Caucus, through our past chair, Lorena Gonzalez, created the Unseen Latinas Initiative. And the mission is to solve, not just address, solve the growing inequality Latinas experience in economy, leadership, and careers. Government can and must take action. A lot of work needs to be done, especially in research. Given our caucus past work with Sonia and the Latino Politics and Policy Institute, we knew we had an academic powerhouse right here in our own backyard. So we helped secure a $15 million allocation in the state budget to fund the Latina Futures 2050 project. It is the perfect vehicle to lift the veil on our unseen Latinas, help them form future policy making. And with that, I am so proud to welcome the incoming chair of the Latino Caucus, current vice chair of the Latino Caucus, my good friend, sister, Assemblywoman Sabrina Cervantes.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Good morning to everyone. Today is certainly a historic moment for California's future. I am honored to be here as a Vice Chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. Here in our state, nearly 20% of all Californians, or 1 in 5 people, identify as Latina. Yet the underrepresentation of Latinas continue to exist in our courtrooms, our medical facilities, elected offices, corporate boards, newsrooms, just to name a few. While facing the steepest wage gaps, Latinas also make up the second largest group of female workers in the U.S. labor market. In 2021, Latinas made up nearly 16% of the labor force in California, compared to 8% nationwide, meaning that the status of Latina workers has a big impact on our state's economy, which we are poised to become the 4th largest economy in the world. Indeed, it is worth noting that the economic success of California is dependent on the success of Latinas. Now more than ever, we must uphold our commitment to uplifting Latinas and breaking down the barriers that hold them back, because these disparities not only hurt Latinas, but also our families and our communities that we represent. For these reasons and more, I have been very proud to work with all my colleagues, specifically my colleagues from the Latino Caucus, on the Unseen Latinas Initiative, which was created to address the continued and growing inequality Latinas experience in economic outcomes, career, and leadership opportunities and education. By taking this next step with the Latina Future Lab, we will build a new generation of leaders to advance this work and shift our nation towards action. This investment will enable the 2050 lab to accelerate research and provide critical data and insight to understand the problems that currently exist to inform our work towards intentional and targeted solutions. I am proud to join today with the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center, the UCLA Latino Policy and Politics Institute to celebrate this significant budget investment championed by Latino Caucus, many members. I want to give a shout out to our chair, Senator Maria Elena Durazo, for all your leadership, making sure that we continue to make sure that this was a priority for this last budget session. We will continue to advance new funding, a new future for Latinas that centers their experiences and invest in building their expertise. I do look forward to the work that you all will do here on this Unseen Latinas initiative to advance solutions that promote visibility and inclusion. I want to thank Governor Gavin Newsom, our legislative leadership, our colleagues in the legislature, their allyship, for recognizing this significant initiative and working with us to secure this $15 million investment. So thank you all, and let's continue to build a better future for all.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member Cervantes and Vice Chair Cervantes. I also wanted to make note that we're very fortunate to have the Senator gracing this lovely.
Wondering. But thank you. Thanks for inviting us and the governor to be here today. And thank you to the Latino Caucus legislators for your leadership in championing this important initiative. Just wanted to also just take the opportunity to highlight a couple of areas that, on reflection, our election is next week, in case you haven't voted. Two important initiatives that the governor has done, particular issues affecting the Latino community. One is a few weeks ago, the governor and we announced that 286,000 older Californians, undocumented older Californians, are now eligible for comprehensive health care due to the championed legislation by Maria Elena Durazo and Assemblymember Arambula. And we as an administration over the past 4 years have made progress, not there yet, but progress. 70.7% of our state's appointments of Latinos happen in the past 4 years. So we have a lot of work to do, as noted by every one of the speakers before me. I just want to note an incredible opportunity. Last week's Forbes made it a really important study, which is very exciting for us, saying that California may exceed Germany in being the 4th largest economy in the world. And that is as a result of the work of immigrants and children of immigrants. And so we have a historic opportunity here in California. While there's a lot of noise outside and we got good defenders of what's happening in our political environment, we have an enormous opportunity to ensure that Latinas are able to progress as our economy progresses here. And so we're here and so proud to support the Latina Futures Lab. As the governor says, he's always so proud to say that always future happens here first in California. So thank you so much.
Great. So now we'd like to make a bit of time for a brief photo op so we can have our 3 speakers and our center directors, Veronica and Sonia, as well as the provost who will be speaking later in the program. But yes, welcome up. So we'll thank you, everyone. So we have the great fortune today of announcing not just one major historic investment from the state, but 2. And so we'll be turning now to our focus on the Hollywood Diversity Report check presentation, which we'll swap out here. And this was a scrimmage, so we'll have the opportunity to do it all over again for the second presentation. So thank you all. And to kick us off for the second check presentation, we'll be inviting up Provost Darnell Hunt.
All right, good, I guess it's still good morning. Good morning, everyone. Great to see you. An exciting day. I'm really happy to be here. So thank you, Professor Diaz, Professor Terraquez. It's an honor to participate in this event alongside you, both of you, and many other distinguished leaders and scholars. So I'm really grateful to join you today to celebrate the launch of Latina Futures 2050 Lab and new support for the Hollywood Diversity Report, the UCLA Hollywood Diversity Report, a project that's near and dear to my heart. I've worked alongside my co-author, Dr. Ana Cristina Ramon, on this project for many years. It's also my pleasure to recognize our Latino Policy and Politics Institute, Chicano Studies Research Center, and Entertainment and Media Research Initiative for leading these extraordinary efforts. And of course, I want to extend my gratitude to members of the state legislature for their significant investments, which are helping to bring this work to life. So thank you again for all of you. So, as you've heard, Latinas are one of the fastest growing groups in the nation. They have also, in many ways, borne the brunt of intersecting crises for the past few years. Yet the voices of these women are still disproportionately underrepresented in local and national decision-making, and the issues of concern to them are not given the attention they warrant. Fortunately, we have among us passionate scholars and committed public servants who recognize that Latinas are inextricably linked to our nation's future. The Latino Futures 2050 Lab is a significant step forward to raise awareness of the inequities Latinas face and the desired need for greater input from them in shaping public policy, educational systems, healthcare services, and more. Now, this kind of research is indicative of what we do at UCLA: identify a pressing need and bring together scholars and other partners to address it in a meaningful and thoughtful way. It is also reflective of our broader commitment to serving Latinos, who make up a full 40% of California's population. As a public university in this state, it is our responsibility to study and address issues relevant to this group. It is also our responsibility to ensure that UCLA's own demographics more closely reflect the communities we serve. That's why we're investing in becoming an Hispanic-serving institution and growing our faculty and postdoctoral communities devoted to Latino life and scholarship. All right. Now, funding to support the expansion of the Hollywood Diversity Report so that we are able to assess equity and access issues across several new dimensions is also critical. While we have done substantial work in evaluating racial and gender concerns in the entertainment industry, we recognize the limitations of our current methodologies when it comes to studying other underrepresented identities such as disability status, sexual orientation, and religion. But these identities are integral parts of who we are as a people, too. They are dimensions that affect how we are seen and how we are treated, and they are just as worthy of crucial scholarship. With that, I want to express my gratitude to California State Senator Maria Elena Durazo and California Assemblywoman Sabrina Cervantes and Wendy Carrillo for their advocacy and support. I also want to again share gratitude to all involved in these projects. I have no doubt that the Latino Futures 2050 Lab will become a hub of cutting-edge research and that the Hollywood Diversity Report will continue producing powerful findings. Both will deepen our understanding of critical issues related to underrepresentation and ultimately lead to a more just and equitable society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Provost Hunt. Got to lower it. He's a little tall. Next up, I have the great pleasure of welcoming a lead champion in the legislature for the Hollywood Diversity Report, Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo, representing the 51st District of California.
Thank you and good morning. I just want to start off by saying, as a fellow Trojan, I come in peace. It's so great to be with you all this morning. There's a lot to celebrate. I proudly represent the 51st Assembly District, soon to be the 52nd, which includes the communities of Northeast LA and East Los Angeles. And it's critical that when we talk about equity and diversity, we're bringing up communities that have traditionally been excluded from the entertainment industry, which is such a robust, thriving industry that started right here at home in Los Angeles. And today, I am proud to champion and announce the $1.25 million California state budget investment for the UCLA Hollywood Diversity Report. I want to thank Provost Dr. Darnell Hunt and Dr. Ana Cristina Ramon for all of their work, including all of the work by their colleagues, their graduate students, and the students here at UCLA who tenaciously look at data so that the legislature has an opportunity to be able to do the good work that we do when it comes to state funding. I want to take a moment to also share a little bit how this even came about. The Unseen Latinas initiative was a select committee that we started in the legislature that I proudly serve on. And one of the many hearings that we had was on Latinas in the entertainment industry, in which Dr. Ramon testified, as well as several others, on the challenges that it is to not only for below the line, but above the line workforce. And the report itself aims to bring attention to the need of greater equity within the entertainment industry for both below and above the line. So below the line, folks that make the sound stages, folks that make the wardrobe, craft services. Think about everybody behind the scene. Below the line are the creatives, right? Creative writers, producers, directors, talents. Are we seeing ourselves in the projects that are being funded through state dollars, through the California Film and Tax Credit? The $1.25 million investment will support the state legislature with the data needed to move forward with the public policy in California, one that is parallel in creating equity and inclusion, with investments being made by the California Film and TV Tax Credit and other projects funded by public dollars. Census numbers reflect that California is 39% Latino, 37% white, 16% Asian American, and 6.5% Black, yet figures from the report by the California Film Commission itself reflect that the workforce is majority white and male. Diversifying the workforce means bringing equity to California's most influential industry. People of color, specifically Latinos, make up California's majority population, yet only a dismal percentage in the entertainment industry. The research is critical to ensure that communities of interest, communities of color, are not helping in subsidizing and funding our own erasure within the Hollywood community. So we want to see ourselves not only reflected in the small and large screen, but we also want to make sure that people of color are the ones creating those narratives, those dramas, those series, and actually pushing those stories to a larger scale. Only we know what our community has gone through. Only we ourselves can tell our own stories. But it's about creating those pathways of opportunities and ensuring that funding for research that is critical to be able to have the data necessary has the funding that it needs to be able to ensure that through the legislature we're able to create policies necessary to actually ensure that those state dollars are a reflection of the people of this state. So this is one step forward, and really looking forward to what the next report looks like. I know it just got distributed, and as we move forward, we can ensure that our state budget is a reflection of our values. And I want to thank all of my colleagues in the legislature that are here for supporting our budget and ensuring that this funding moves forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. So next, I would love to invite Dr. Ana Cristina Ramon, who is the Director of the Entertainment and Media Research Initiative and a wonderful colleague of ours at UCLA LPPI.
Thank you so much. Personally, I would like to say I am so honored to be working with these amazing Latina change makers that are definitely making a difference. And I'm just really proud to be here at UCLA working with them. I also wanted to, again, extend our deepest gratitude for the state legislature for supporting our Hollywood Diversity Report and the research that comes out of it. And we are very grateful for Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo's leadership in this area. And we look forward to continuing to hold Hollywood accountable for its hiring practices. So the upcoming year, I think, will be very interesting and great work that will be coming out of our new entertainment and media research initiative at the Institute for Research on Labor and Employment here at UCLA. Thank you so much.
So last and certainly not least, before we have our second photo up, it's my pleasure to welcome up Assemblymember Isaac Bryan, representing the 54th District, of which we are a constituent as the UCLA campus.
Thank you, Paul. It's good to be home. Don't tell the other UCs, but UCLA, we brought the bag home this year. We got LPPI, the money that we need to do this work to uplift unseen Latinas. The Bunch Center got $5 million. The Hollywood Diversity Report got some millions. We got $500 million coming to set up an immunization center. UCLA, we brought the bag home. But the only way we could do that is because we work together in solidarity, making sure that we lift from the bottom and that we center those who are often unseen. We got to give it up for Sonia Diaz. I was here when Sonia was LPPI, when she was holding this thing together every single day. In fact, before I was a legislator, one of my first delegation trips up to present research was as part of Sonia's delegation presenting LPPI research. She built this thing with a team, and I see that team is growing. That team is strong. The fellows are powerful, and that's what we need to do the work to make sure that our communities are fully seen. And in this particular instance, it's to make sure that Latinas are seen. The homeless population has grown, and Latinas have grown in their share. Our incarcerated population is still the second largest per capita in the country, the largest in the country. Latinas are taking up a disproportionate share. Economic opportunity and mobility, Latinas are not taking a disproportionate share. They are taking a disproportionate share of bad outcomes. But we need to know the nuances of the way that our civic institutions and our policies are hurting Latinas so we can come together and be a part of those solutions. And so I'm grateful to see a lot of my colleagues here. I want to give a shout out to one of them. The LA delegation is over 30 members of the legislature who represent LA. We just voted our new chair about a week ago, and that's Assemblymember Luz Rivas. And I have no doubt the direction of the delegation is going to go positive, because when Latinas lead, we all rise. And so thank you for all the work that you all do. I'm grateful to be here in solidarity and looking forward to build towards the future.
So thank you all again for joining us for this wonderful celebration. We're going to go through round two here, and if we can get fellow staff, faculty, our community members to join us as we engage in a photo op for our second wonderful and historic investment here. We welcome all our speakers and all who've been key to this